Okay, next we're going to put our tree in a landscape. So we made a tree last time, and I'm going to put a tree that's going to be a knobbly old tree, but you can see the tree that we drew last time. I'm going to use some Tipp-Ex or correction fluid on there, but if you've got a piece of chalk or some white paint or correction fluid, it's up to you. I'm going to use a fine liner because it shows up, but a biro works really well with this. I've showed you how to cut a piece of paper down on the last video, so now I'm going to draw into my hill. So, and here we go. This is going to be the side of a hillside there. It's quite steep, and I'm going to have a knobbly old tree. It's going to come down, it's going like that, and it's going. Now that line was drawn quite fast. The next line I'm going to draw slower, because what I want to happen is for that branch to the trunk, not the branch, I've got a little bump there, to get wider as it goes down. Well, look, my little bump, I can put a little knot there. That's where the branch come out, and the deer ate it. Right, a few years ago. Now I'm going to draw my tree like I drew last time in the background, and I did that by drawing a line down. Next line goes slower because how the trunk gets wider. So I'm going to draw a line down fast, and the next line goes slower because I'm going to get the trunk wider, and then I could just have a tip of one there. So now I'm going to draw my fir trees in the background like I did last time. So if you watched the last video, you'll see that I can draw a tree like this. So there's going to be some branches stuck up there, because however the tree looks is up to us. Of course, there's a bit of flatter land behind this side of the hill, and the trees are growing up nice and straight. Now, I'm trying to draw fast. I would take your time a little bit more. I just don't want you to see me drawing a tree and not for you to have a go yourself. So, trying to keep these videos quite short. So there's my next tree. It's the top of another tree. It can be any size. If I want to, I can make it bigger. Like that. And the last one, you knew I had it darker in the middle, so. And if I wanted to send a branch out any length, I could. If I wanted to turn the branches up, so they went like that, up to me, my tree. So I'm going to make these trees now look as if they're going into the distance. Now you could use chalk, talcum powder. I'm going to use some correction fluid. I'm going to get my finger dirty. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the correction fluid on there. I'm going to rub the correction fluid in. What's going to happen is that tree is going to end up looking grey. So I haven't given that chance to dry. Now, if you draw into wet correction fluid your pen, you'll ruin your pen nib. Biros aren't so bad. So just a warning there that needs to be dry, and then I could just put some more branches in if I wanted to bring it back a bit, because it was a little bit too faded. So there's my trees in the distance. Now I'm going to go back to my knobbly tree. Now this old tree is grown out of a stump in the hillside, so it is not grown straight. It's had a hard life. So it's going to have some branches coming down there. Wherever I put the branches is up to me. It's going to be a little bit lopsided. So tell her two trees, lovely perfect trees in the background. But this tree, well, he's grown out of a hillside. He's been up against it. Because I have some little branches growing out there, because he's just struggling to get on. He's trying to grow wherever he can. Get that trunk a little bit, and some lights coming over from this side. and so this side the tree is going to be in shadow, and that's going to be some more branches going off there. Now I could put a little branch going off there. I've drawn this quite fast. You could take your time. If you go wrong, you can put a little bit of correction fluid on there. Good way to hide correction fluid is that if you put lots of correction fluid on your picture and you think, oh, there's all this correction fluid over my picture, doesn't look so good, what you need to do then is just take it to a photocopier, photocopy it, and then what you'll find is that that correction fluid doesn't come out on the photocopy. That's what it's designed for, and so you could end up with a picture just as good without showing how you erased any of the bits. Now I want to have this a contrast between the foreground and the background, so I am drawing there a contrast where it's going to be the dark on the hillside and light up a little bit of foliage growing out there. Could have some there. If I got a little bit I want to hide here, I could do the same there. If I find that I've done a bit I didn't quite like, put something there. And I could see, this is a good example. There is a rock, and to make that rock stand out, what I'm going to do is create a high contrast. And what I've done in the background with the trees, I've created a low contrast by making them look grey, so they look like they're in the distance. Make things jump out at you in the foreground by getting that contrast between the dark and the light. Just a little crack in the rock there. Been there years, since the beginning of time, so there's going to be some cracks there. It's not going to weather well. You could put a little bit of something going out the side. Could be another little fir tree going there. Look, just a little branch. It's going to end up looking like that one. Now, I could have a little branch sticking out there, just trying to grow. Now some of these, look, you can see it's gone a little bit grey again. You could go over there and work over it. Now I'm not happy with these lines. What I'm going to do is take some time. You could take some time just filling in all those, and that's how you get a nice defined tree jumping out at you. And then in the background, some trees fading into the distance. Look, on this one, look, I faded that out, so I wasn't too happy with how it stood out, so I've put some correction fluid on that, but I could just bring that line back. There, I wasn't quite happy, so I faded that one out a little bit there, so it just wasn't so significant. There we go, and that is how to draw your fir tree actually in a landscape.